And on the next page is another beautiful work of art. That's your CYA letter called Seller's Acknowledgments. And your attorney will love this. When you get this to, and by the way, all of these are on your Gold Club membership website under Resources and then under Standard Forms and Agreements. This package is under Control Without Ownership section. Is everybody in here a Gold Club member? Anybody not a Gold Club member in here? Anybody not? All right, well, you better get there, because this is where all these agreements are, where you can fill them out and be interactive with them. Under Resources, they're under Standard Forms and Agreements, and then you have Control Without Ownership, you have Work for Equity, you have Residential, you have Commercial, you have Canadian, you have U.S., and something else I can't remember. Now this one is under the Control Without Ownership, because this is different than the one where we take a debt subject to a little. So just scan this real quick. This is what the seller signs. It says, I'm the owner. I've reviewed the terms. I've received good, valuable consideration. I'm satisfied with the terms. I've assigned. I'm fully informed and with sufficient understanding. I understand I may be selling the property for less than market value, and I'm okay with that. I have agreed to sell the property to the buyer, and I'm now bound by these terms. I understand the agreement I've signed is for outright sale of the property, which it is on an option. I understand buyer may assign the agreement to another. I understand buyer may choose to close this transaction without the use of an escrow company. I understand there will be additional closing documents to sign, and upon receipt, agree to sign and deliver those closing documents. That's for your lease option deals. I understand that copies of the paperwork I've signed will be provided to me in a timely manner, and they will be. I understand the buyer may resell, option to purchase, contract to purchase, and purchase and sales agreement, or the property may realize a profit in doing so. I agree that buyer is entitled to any profit that may ultimately result from the subsequent resale of the option to purchase, contract to purchase, sale of agreement, or the property. So it's no secret that we're making a profit. I acknowledge the buyer has advised me to seek independent counsel, to seek independent financial advisor, and I understand the buyer has negotiated on his own behalf and not mine, and that the property is not listed with a real estate agent, and I have no physical, mental, or emotional ailments that preclude me from signing, and that the decision to accept this particular tenant buyer was a joint decision. I fully agree and acknowledge and understand that upon the completion of this transaction, I shall remain primarily liable on my mortgage, and this transaction does not affect any legal obligation to continue to make full and timely payments on the mortgage. I understand that the tenant buyer's failure to make full and timely payments to me or my lender does not relieve me of my obligation to make said mortgage payments, and I agree that I remain subject to the terms of the mortgage, and in the event of a default, I may be subjected to foreclosure proceedings. I'm not under the influence of any alcohol or mind-altering substance, nor am I taking medication that would cloud my judgment. I've not been promised anything other than that's described here, and I'm under no duress and have signed this agreement of my own free will. Now, notice that there's a place for the seller's initials beside every single one of those paragraphs. Now, can you imagine you being an attorney representing that seller and in court with the other side presenting this document, and you try to say that the seller didn't know what they were doing? Now, how do you think this thing came about anyway? Huh? Yeah. Last time I was in court with a lady, I bought her house from her, for crying out loud, saved her from foreclosure. Realtor sued me anyway for commission because it was listed. I knew it was listed. I bought it and I put it right in the listing agreement that to leave it listed, and if it sells, the realtor gets full commission. That didn't matter. So anyway, here comes this old lady, and she was represented by legal aid, and here comes this big old box of pills out on the table while we were in court in front of the judge, and immediately I knew I was screwed. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand. Now, she understood fully, trust me. Her daughter was there when I explained it to her, and then was explained to her again at the title company, and she was fully aware. But of course, guess who paid the commission? Yeah, me. So anyway, I learned from 2 or 3 occasions where people cried, are claimed stupidity after the fact, that we'll stop that crap. So we created this thing, and I tell you, your attorney is going to love that document. And pretty soon it will be his CYA letter. And I'll tell you something else, guys. If you ever do get attacked from either side, and you get a call from their attorney, I can promise you their attorney does not have all the documents in his possession that they signed. Yeah, they never do. So they go in there and they whine, and the attorney sees a case, and so he takes their case and he takes their fee, and then he contacts you, and then later he finds out, wait, where did this come from? Why didn't you tell me you had this? I would advise you to go home. So when their other side gets these documents, you pretty much assume that case is over. And if it's not over, I wouldn't worry about it, because if you go to court with this stuff properly signed, the odds are way in your favor. Okay, let's get into the actual lease option agreement, which I could discuss better if I had a cup of coffee, but since I don't. See, VAs don't strike either.